next student is Graham Johnson. Graham Johnson lives in West Des Moines and attends Valley High School. The title of his project is Global Gardeners.
Picture this. You've had a long, stressful day, and all you want is the comfort of a familiar meal. Maybe it's a bowl of chicken noodle soup, or a plate of mac and cheese that helps you relax. As you get ready to make this recipe, you reach for that one essential ingredient, the one that makes your dish memorable, only to realize it's missing. Frustrated, you go to the store, and there it is, but it's priced just out of reach. You walk away knowing that because your budget is stretched thin, some comforts remain beyond your grasp. My name is Graham Johnson, and I started the nonprofit Global Gardeners to address a similar, yet often overlooked issue facing many immigrant and refugee families in my community. Our goal is to provide culturally meaningful herbs that elevate everyday pantry staples into comforting meals. We did this with the goal of helping our international friends put down roots in Iowa. My journey began in 9th grade when I started volunteering at Clive Community Services, a local food pantry. My job was, and still is, to assist clients as they shop for essentials. Our pantry receives the majority of its shelf-stable items and produce, like potatoes, onions, carrots, and apples, from the DMARC Food Network. Community members occasionally donate more perishable items, like tomatoes and peppers, which I notice are always quick to disappear. One particular shopper was so excited to be able to take fresh tomatoes and onions, and he simply mentioned in passing he was going home to make fresh salsa. He joked about how it could only be better if he had fresh cilantro. And that got me thinking. There were already people filling donations of produce, but what if I was able to provide that extra ingredient? The ingredient that they wouldn't splurge on, but that would change ordinary food pantry staples into more familiar, meaningful dishes. The ingredients I was thinking of were herbs, like adding cilantro to tomatoes and onions to make great salsa, or garnishing stir-fried rice with basil to give a more authentic flavor. That is how my project began. Before formally proposing this project, I had two goals in mind. First, identify the herbs most commonly used in clients' native cuisines. This would allow me to better cater to those we serve. Second, grow and distribute these herbs as seedlings in container gardens so clients could continue to grow them at home. To make this vision a reality, I divided my project into 4 phases: planning, planting, cultivation, and distribution. The first step was presenting my idea. I set up a meeting in March at Clive Community Services with the director, Annabelle Denk, to pitch my idea. Next, in line with my first goal, I needed to determine the herbs that the majority of food pantry clients would be interested in receiving. I created a simple survey that was filled out during the intake process before clients began shopping. We surveyed during 3 pantry sessions in April, asking the opinion of just over 90 shoppers. I compiled the results, learning that the majority of shoppers were interested in cilantro, basil, oregano, and mint in that order. Ms. Dank was also able to provide me with anonymous demographic data, so it was possible to determine that the 3 most prevalent languages spoken by clients, besides English, are Spanish, Hakachin, and Arabic. The last part of my planning phase was collecting supplies. I received donations of seeds, soil, and pots for distribution through my nonprofit from friends and family. I was also lucky enough to have a neighbor give me over 100 seedling trays from a landscaping project she had completed last year. Next, I focused on the planting stage. Clive Community Services happens to also support adult English language classes, and a number of the students have kids who are interested in my project. I took this opportunity and expanded my impact by involving these children in a planting event. Being a student, I see the value in education and understand the importance of sharing that journey with others. In June, I reached out to Ava Donnelly, who is a healthy food access specialist with the Iowa State University Extension Office. She provided me with some age-appropriate educational materials related to planting. I used a simple curriculum and hosted an educational planting day in July at Lyman Park, a community park that is close to the food pantry. After covering the basics of planting and plant care, several adult volunteers and I helped the students plant over 450 basil seeds. Then, the kids were able to decorate their own pots and plant herbs to take home and continue growing on their own. For my full project, cilantro, basil, oregano, and mint seeds were planted in 290 individual starter cells. Once the seeds made contact with the soil, July and August were spent cultivating the herbs. I borrowed 2 grow light shelves from a relative who is an avid gardener, and we set them up in our house so it was easy to control the light, temperature, and moisture. Trays of seedlings were watered routinely, and lights were used for 16-hour exposure periods every day. The final and most fulfilling part of my project was distributing the herbs. Once again, using volunteers from my nonprofit board, we set up tables outside the food pantry on 2 different days in August. Clients were able to pick 3 different herbs, and we repotted them into small containers for them to take home and continue growing. I also passed out plant care instructions so everyone could successfully enjoy taking care of their herbs at home. Knowing that there would be a diverse group of shoppers, I had planned ahead. Back in May, when I had gotten the information on different languages spoken at the pantry, I reached out to Gianna Puglisi, the Intercultural Outreach Coordinator for the West Des Moines Community Schools. She helped me locate volunteers who spoke each of the different languages, and they helped me translate the plant care instructions. These directions in Spanish, Arabic, and Hakachin were then printed and passed out to shoppers. I'm excited to say that this project impacted the community in more ways than I could have anticipated. In total, we distributed over 1,700 herb seedlings, benefiting 86 families who now have the ability to cook with fresh, familiar ingredients. One family regularly sends me updates on the thriving herbs, eager for more future events. And my friend from the food pantry did in fact get to make salsa with the cilantro he grew at home. These moments remind me that food is more than sustenance. It's culture, identity, and a bridge to belonging. Personally, Global Gardeners reinforced my belief in the power of community and collaboration. It has also expanded my leadership skills from organizing events to problem solving through unexpected challenges. It's great to discuss what went well, but it's also important to reflect on what could be improved for the future. To add even more variety, I would like to explore growing herbs like Thai basil, parsley, or dill. To reach even more people, I plan to host future events. And to increase yield, I would like to experiment with the possibility of hydroponic growing. Now, to honor this program and the very place I stand, it's important to clearly connect my work to Herbert Hoover himself. Hoover, frequently remembered as the great humanitarian, not solely because he distributed food to those in need, but because he recognized that aid was more than just the act of feeding. It was about restoring dignity, fostering resilience, and nurturing the roots of community. He believed that true humanitarianism involved seeing beyond the immediate needs to understand the deeper human aspect of support. Global Gardeners embodies this perspective. While distributing herbs may not solve hunger on a grand scale, it acknowledges the nuances of food equity and the intangible value of cultural identity. By enabling families to recreate familiar flavors and dishes, this project offers more than nutrition. It offers a connection to tradition and a reminder that their stories matter. This is where Hoover's legacy lives on, not just in feeding people, but in cultivating hope and the sense that everyone belongs. Just as Hoover approached problems with a forward-thinking vision that considers the person behind the need, Global Gardeners strives to do the same. It's about fostering a kind of humanitarianism that acknowledges the power of the small, overlooked elements, herbs that turn sustenance into comfort and unfamiliar places into homes. Global Gardeners began as an idea sparked by a simple conversation and evolved into a project that has touched the lives of many. By nurturing plants, we foster a sense of belonging, connecting cultures through the universal language of food. And in doing so, we don't just help our international friends put down roots in Iowa, we grow a community. Thank you.
So will you be continuing this yourself, or will you be handing it off to somebody else at some point?
That's a great question. So one of the benefits of being registered as a nonprofit is it offers the structure for continuation. It is in my current plans to continue this project, but if that were to change, we have a clearly defined board, so there can be kind of a clean transfer of power and order.
What are your own plans after high school?
Currently undecided, but a 4-year college.
Great presentation. How do you see you would scale this? So like it seems like it's kind of in one room at the moment. Like, besides hydroponics, like what's the?
Yeah, so in the future, there's definitely an interest in, obviously, yes, space is a constraint in this case. So there's possibilities of using some space at the food pantry. That would obviously allow it to expand, yes, beyond one room, and also kind of include the project closer to the community we serve, and have that be a little bit more interactive. But then as far as like the financial constraints, that's really where I'm leaning into the foundation or the nonprofit organization in an effort to raise funds to continue.
And a follow-up question, like, did you have any leftover, or was there more demand that wasn't met? Or?
There was definitely more demand than there was met. That's kind of the unfortunate part about the scale. There's many other families that would definitely be benefiting and be appreciating this project. So certainly.
Thank you.
Thanks for an innovative idea and interesting project. So you talked about what you did over the summer. Are you continuing it since you have indoor growing? Are you continuing it through the winter? And are you also continuing to engage children or other students?
Yeah, so the cultivation period is being continued. Obviously, that's a huge benefit of it being indoors and kind of why I opted for that. So we currently are producing another set of trays to be distributed. But the community or the education planting day was only a one-time thing. This hasn't happened.